I'm a psychology student, and one of the topics we had at university was discrimination. And so we learned about all the different forms of discrimination, and one of the topics was sexism. And one thing that I found really interesting that we learned was traditional sexism versus modern sexism. And traditional sexism is what you would think of as sexism, which is believing that women are not equal to men, and that women are not worthy of the same things as men, that women aren't allowed to vote, or that women don't deserve to have their own credit card, that women's place is at home in the kitchen and with children. Those are forms of traditional sexism, which is what we all think of when we think of sexism. Now, modern sexism exists because traditional sexism is no longer tolerated in society. It's not seen as acceptable to have that point of view anymore. So you won't see that overtly being said as much, because it's no longer tolerated to be overtly sexist, which would be traditional sexism. But modern sexism is basically the way that sexism has morphed to become tolerated by society, because it's not saying these things blatantly, but modern sexism is defined as the denial of discrimination and the rejection of measures aimed to reduce inequality. So if you've ever seen somebody say, or caught yourself saying, that sexism doesn't exist anymore, women are equal to men, women have equal rights to men, sexism is a thing of the past, women can vote now, sexism is not a current topic anymore. Or, so that would be denial of discrimination, so the first part of the definition of modern sexism. The second part, which is rejection of measures aimed to reduce inequality, would be if you've caught yourself saying or seen other people say things like, women are asking for more than they deserve nowadays, they want to be treated like gods, not like humans, this is discrimination against men, how much women are asking for nowadays, and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of comments like that under one of my recent YouTube videos, which I made a couple videos replying to hate comments on my channel. So check that out. I reply to those, and you can see those comments there as well. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, I've been seeing so much modern sexism, and the way I realized that is portrayed in what we expect of female pop stars versus male pop stars is we have so many expectations tied to female pop stars that we don't have tied to male pop stars. One of them being all female pop stars are supposed to have a vocal range like Mariah Carey. And the reason why Mariah Carey is that, I mean, there's many reasons why she's incredible, but one of the things that makes her unique is her 5-octave vocal range. But all female pop stars are now expected to have a 5-octave vocal range. And if they don't, we say they can't sing, they're not good enough, they don't deserve to be where they are, they're not a real singer. But have you ever heard anybody say about a male pop star like Harry Styles or like Bruno Mars? Have you ever heard anybody say about them they can't sing because they don't have a large enough vocal range? I've never heard anybody say that before. I've never seen anybody say that on the internet. I've never seen anybody say Harry Styles can't sing because his vocal range isn't large enough, he doesn't deserve to be where he is. I've never heard anybody say that before. And I have a couple other things that I noticed. For example, that female pop stars, but if you look at what we expect of female pop stars in performance, we expect them to do choreography, we expect them to have outfit changes, and we expect them to sing live. Now, the third expectation, we expect that of male pop stars too. What we don't expect of male pop stars is for them to do choreography and to have outfit changes and to have this whole big production behind them. Because if you've ever seen Harry Styles in concert, if you've seen, and this is nothing personally against Harry Styles, I'm using him as an example of a male pop star. You could say the same thing of a lot of other male pop stars, like The Weeknd, for example. But if you look at their shows, it's completely incomparable. Any other female pop star tour. But we expect that of a female pop star show. We expect choreography, we expect outfit changes, and we expect a big production to see that on stage. With male pop stars, with Harry Styles, for example, his most recent concert, it's basically just his band and him on stage singing songs, which is kind of what music is, right? And if you historically look back, and still to this day, at the biggest, like the rock bands and all of that, it's just a guy on stage with the band singing songs. There's no outfit changes, there's no choreography, and there's no big production. And people hail these shows as incredible. You would lose your mind telling everybody how terrible the show was, because there were no outfit changes and there was no choreography and there was no big production. And I just, have you ever thought about the parallels there and the dystopia and the very warped expectations that we have to different pop stars because of their gender? And how I see a lot of women even tearing down female pop stars because they don't adhere to these much higher standards than we have for male pop stars. And you might be shocked when you realize that it's mostly men that have this attitude, but you will also see women have this attitude. And if you can think logically, you might find that very shocking. And one theory to explain that is system justification, which is that you have the internal belief and expectation that the system is for your benefit. And so society and the way that it is built and everything that is society in and of itself is for everybody's good, and things are rigged in people's favors. We want people to succeed. We don't want to see people fall. And if you say these things out loud, blatantly, it might sound unrealistic, but these are all favorable beliefs that we have. We don't have the belief in ourselves that society is trying to tear down women, or that society is trying to make sure that women don't rise as high as men. And so thinking that sexism still exists, and that now it's just morphed a little bit into modern sexism as opposed to traditional sexism, and so seeing that women are actually not.